Hi guys, welcome back. I thought I'd do a impromptu, this live, not live kind of video, and we're going to make a quick card, but what I will do is I'll show you all the components and then I will either do some fast forwarding, so you, instead of watching me stick all these little bits together, and then we'll put it together. But basically what I have is the Spellbinders small die of the month for March 23, and this is the Floral Butterfly card front. So you have this very cool, delicate, detailed die, and you cut two of these to make a whole card front, and I'll show you that in a minute because that's what we're going to do today. And then you have the pieces here for the butterfly. You have some words here, which I'm not going to use them, I'm going to use a stamp, which I'll sort out later on. I'm going to make a birthday card. And then you have these florals that make up the butterfly. I'm not going to use the centers. Again, I'm going to do my own thing with a bit of gem. I need to say gem squash, not gem squash, with some gems. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so let's get to it. So there are two. I've cut two of these out of like a rich peach colour, if that makes any sense. It looks quite bright on there. It's more of a, it's like an intense peach colour in real life. Anyway, so I'm also going to stick it straight to a card base. So this is like a coral colour, and these two go quite nicely together, I thought. So I thought I would stick that direct to the front of this card base. You can obviously do it separately and then stick it to your card base if you want to, but we're gonna do this old school styly. Right, so my butterflies, I thought I'd get these pieces stuck on first, so I'll work on one butterfly and then I'll sort out the other one. So there's two white, I've done them in white, but there's two of the wing bases for the bottom and then the top, and then there are these little florals, like I say, that we're just going to pop on onto it, if my glue will let me. And I'm not being too careful with that, I'm just going to get them stuck on here, like so. And hopefully this is close enough that you can sort of see what I'm doing. Just get them on there. And there is the camera's probably not going to pick it up, but right in the middle there's two like little score lines kind of thing, so you could push these up to make them into like wings. Did you like that? But it's also a guide for where the body of the butterfly will go. So on the bottom pieces there's also some little florals. Whoops. Which I'm going to do like so. I think that's how they go. And then the other side as well. And I just picked some random colours of scrap cardstock that I had to hand. So again, just trying to get them somewhat even, but not on the centre little score liney things. Technical term, of course. Right, so there's the green part of the floral. I do want rummaging, sorry about that. I then have some little flowers, so I decided to do the main flower here, which is like a bigger flower in the pink, So trying to work out which way this thing goes. Why can't I work this out? Ah, because there's a left and a right hand one. That'll be why. Right. Right, sorry about that. So there we go, I didn't realise that. There is actually like a left and a right hand side to the flower. Yeah, of course. Right, so for the top ones, I think I'm going to have the blue ones. So let's see, these seem to be the same. I have like a right and a wrong way, which, you know, that's not right. Doesn't make it easy, but not totally perfect. It'll work. And then I've got yellow ones for the bottom here. See, some of them just go straight on, and some of them my brain doesn't know what to do with it, so we're gonna so there you have it. There's your little butterfly, or the start of the butterfly. So I will get the other butterfly, oh no, in the body. Actually the body we'll put on when we put it onto here. Now let's do that now. Right, so oops. So these will now sit on here, and honestly, if this is, you know, worst case, I'll do a voiceover. So these just fit nicely onto this piece. You can obviously, like I say, bend them in the middle and put a bit of foam underneath the wings to make them look like they're standing up. I'm not going to, I'm just going to get them stuck flat just to show you how this goes together. And they do kind of butt up to each other on here. Is very pretty, I have to say. So now we're just going to dot some glue down here for the body of the butterfly. just like that. So I'm going to speed through the next one, and we're just going to do exactly the same thing to get it on there. Now that we have that sorted, we can start to get them onto the base card. Now, I don't normally stick things directly to the base, but I thought this was a good plan to do this way. I just thought it might be quite cool. Yeah, so let's do that. And all I'm going to do, that one's still more wet, so let's give that a second. So all I'm going to do is somewhat round the edges, just dab some glue, just to get some on there. And then just a few key areas, I think. This is the main one. Don't want to oversaturate it, otherwise it's just going to have glue ooze everywhere. And that won't be fun for anyone. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to pop this, let's start at the top actually. Let me close that again. Start at the top. You can always cut the bottom off. Right, so if this turns out to be slightly longer than your card base, you can always trim the excess off the bottom there. Just get that on there. So, and that should hold for the most part. Should be good. So how easy is that? Right, let's do this one. Let me get a, oh, that'll do. No, it won't. Just to hold it in place for a minute. And then same thing again on the bottom one. Just get some adhesive. Just in a few key areas. So, and then we're going to, it should line up at the bottom of the card. Oh, this is actually longer than the card. Okie dokie. We're going to just, oh no, it's not. It's me being an idiot. Right, I'll explain this in a second. It's perfect. It's Spellbinders, of course it's going to be perfect. It's the user error. Right, so that's on the base there and it fits perfectly. Right, so what it did, of course this is me showing you, you know, out of the box, so to speak. So I've not done one of these. It's the first time I put this one together. So what it does in the center, I thought it was going to be too long for the edge of the card. So this does fit the A2 front, which, you know, makes sense because Spellbinders are awesome. And what it does is it lines up perfectly here, and these two little circle, they like link on top of each other, and they line up, and I mean it literally lines up perfectly. So yeah, happy accident that I worked that one out quick enough before that glue dried. But how beautiful is that? We're not finished, of course, but how cool is that? Right, so in here you can put whatever sentiment you like. They have a die cut that says just because. I'm going to do a happy birthday, and so I will go and get my stamp, and I will get the bling that I want to bling up these centers of the flowers with, and I'll be back in a second. Right, so I have finished the card. I thought I'd do that off camera just because I was faffing about, but here it is. I have added some bling drops to that, which I'll show you in a second, and I stupidly put them on before I stamped my sentiment. So I'm going to show you how I got round that. But what I did was, for all the centers of each of the little flowers, I decided to go with a Nuvo glitter drop, and this one is Gold Coast. So it's a, I don't know if you can see that, the camera's kind of acting weird for me. So it's kind of a clear-ish kind of sparkle, but it's a gold tint, if you like, a gold sparkle in there. Very pretty, so I thought it would look nice just as the centers of each of the flowers. So when that dries, they will be dimensional, but not like too bulky, if that makes any sense. Anyway, that's what I used. And I haven't been using these. I lose track of what to do with these guys. So another reason I did them off camera is because I haven't used it for a while. So getting those little swirls so that you get your dots just right is, it's kind of like I'm in the new girl again. But anyway, so then what I did with the stamp, I used the Simon Says stamp Happiest Wishes. Oh, that's a bit close, sorry. Happiest Wishes, and there's a happy birthday down here. Now, it's not maybe the style that you would normally put with something this sort of delicate, but I actually think it works really nicely. It's kind of maybe a little bit more modern, but I like it. It works. So I found this, and it happened to fit in that space. So it's quite a big space. You can get quite a lot on there. And so I used this one. I can't remember which kit this came in. Last year anyway, spring summer-ish time maybe. And then I used some Versafine Onyx Black Vintage Sepia, because I didn't want to use a black ink on here. There's no other black anything. None of the die cuts are black, none of the background, none of that. And so sometimes if that's how I've planned a card, or that's how the card's gone, like this one, then I will switch to maybe a brown tone. I did look at maybe a navy sort of colour as well, because I thought with the blue that could work, but I actually think this looks better because of all this sort of orangey tones here. So yeah, that's why I went with a brown ink pad for the sentiment. So that's it. How cute and very pretty, and you can see a bit of sparkle on those dots. They're obviously very wet still, so they'll take at least 24 hours to properly dry, if not longer, just so that they don't sort of squash. You definitely don't want to mail this straight away, but how beautiful is all that delicate detail on there, and I just love it. I mean, you could even cut out the base part that's on this orangey bit of the butterfly, and just cut the butterflies out and then use the pieces on top of it to create a sort of separate element for a card. I also think this piece, like on its own, if you had them side by side, you could do a slimline card, and I almost think it looks a bit like a fence, like a fancy fence. So yeah, I kept trying to figure out a way to show you that, so I may still bring a card to you that way. We'll see. But yeah, I hope you like this, guys. I don't often do the live not live kind of videos, just because they I tend to make a racket, and you know, there's usually a cat howling in the background or something. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. It's obviously well, I'm assuming it's going to be a slightly longer format than maybe normal, but I hope you've stuck around, and if you have, thanks so much, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.